What if I told you you could build a $10,000 a month business from your phone? Would you believe me? Well, today I'm going to show you exactly how you can do it and which home service business is the best opportunity right now. I personally built a cleaning business to over $40,000 per month without ever touching a mop, managing everything from my phone in about 1 to 2 hours per day. And today I'm going to break down why cleaning beats every other home service model. Now, before we compare different home services, let me explain the model that makes all this possible, because I think this is fundamentally different from any other traditional business you've seen. So here's how it works. You are essentially the middleman connecting the clients with service providers. The client is paying you $200 for a clean. You're paying the cleaners $100 and you're keeping $100 profit on average. But here's what makes this so powerful. Everything happens remotely. You can find the clients through text messaging, online marketing. You can hire your cleaners through online job boards, online platforms like Indeed. You can manage the whole operation from your phone while they do the actual work at the client's houses, right? So you're never on site. You're never doing the physical work. You are just running the business. So if you think of yourself as the Uber for home services, right? Uber doesn't own the cars or even employ the drivers, right? They just connect riders and drivers and they're taking a cut of every ride. You're essentially doing the same thing with home services. Here's where it gets interesting though. Unlike Uber, you are not competing against a billion-dollar tech company, right? You're competing with local businesses that are still using pen and paper for the most part, answering from their personal cell phones or not even responding whatsoever and showing up to every job themselves. So why this works specifically for home services is number one, demand is always going to be there. People always need help with their homes, regardless of the economy. Number two, workers with the skills already exist. You do not need to train someone from scratch. Number three, the startup cost is low. You can realistically start this for under $1,000 if you really wanted to. And fourth, everything can be managed from your phone because of technology, scheduling, payments, communication, quality control. All of this can be done off your phone. But here's what most people do not understand, right? Not all home services are created equal. Some are seasonal, some require massive equipment investments, some have bad profit margins, and some are impossible to scale remotely. So I've researched every major home service category. I'm going to show you why cleaning beats all of these in my opinion. So let's start with pressure washing, because this is what a lot of people think when they first hear home services. And how it works is obviously you hire crews to go pressure wash driveways, decks, siding, commercial properties, right? You're charging anywhere from like $500 plus per job. And why this seems so good is typically higher ticket prices means, hey, fewer jobs, you need to hit 10,000, right? If you're charging $500 a job, you only need 20 jobs to hit 10,000. And you can scale if you build the right crew with the right equipment. But here's the reality that no one talks about. Pressure washing is heavily seasonal. There's peak seasons, right? March through June, when people are getting ready for the summer and doing spring cleaning. And then in the winter months, especially in the northern climates, demand pretty much drops to almost zero. I know people that are making, over 15, 20K a month in spring, and then it's literally like $500 in December, because that's not a business, right? That's a seasonal side hustle. You're constantly hunting for new clients because most jobs are one time. Driveways are realistically only going to get washed once or twice a year, right? Not weekly like your house cleaning. So there's no recurring revenue, which means you're basically starting from zero every single month. Plus, you need to invest in expensive equipment. Pressure washers, trucks, trailers, the chemicals, safety equipment. That stuff's likely going to be over 5 figures up front before you even make your first dollar. So if your equipment breaks down, you're literally out of business until this thing gets fixed. And on top of that, it's really hard to run this business from a remote management perspective, right? If you try and post a job for experienced pressure washing crews, you're not going to get many applicants, and most won't have the right experience or equipment, right? So the skill barrier is higher, and most likely the good crews are already working for established companies and there's less of them. Next, let's look at pool cleaning, which sounds great on paper, but has some major limitations. So how it works is obviously you hire a pool technician to do weekly maintenance, right? Testing chemicals, cleaning filters, skimming debris, balancing pH levels. Recurring services can be around $100 per pool per week, which seems good, right? Very recurring revenue based. Clients need it constantly. Once you get a pool client, they're typically staying for years because switching pool companies is a hassle. But here's the reality that eliminates 80% of these people immediately. Pool cleaning only works in specific warm climate markets, right? Florida, Arizona, California, Texas, these places. If you live anywhere else, this business doesn't exist, even in those markets. And again, if you try and find experienced pool technicians, it's a specialized skill that takes time to learn properly. You need to understand water chemistry, equipment repair, safety protocols. You can't just hire somebody off Indeed, expect them to manage someone's $50,000 pool. So the barrier to entry for workers is higher, which makes scaling even more difficult. As you have more people, you're going to have more technicians, and that can be problematic if you're relying on only one or two people to start. Now let's talk about lawn care and landscaping, which is probably the most common home service business. And how it works is you're going to connect landscapers with homeowners for weekly mowing, maintenance, landscaping projects. Depending on the project, obviously that can vary. Charging $100 per lawn per week is something that is pretty normal for the industry. And again, why it's good? Recurring revenue during the season. Lots of potential clients since most people have lawns and you can scale to multiple crews. But the reality is lawn care, again, is seasonal in most most climates. You're busy from March through October, then the winter it gets very dead. Landscapers are going to struggle to find the work for that 4 or 5 months of the year. And sometimes you'll see people even try to pivot to snow removal or holiday lighting, but that's a completely different skill set requiring different equipment and workers. So you're essentially running two separate businesses to stay busy year round, which to me is very difficult and requires a lot more skill. If you think about it, you're spending half the year getting one company off the ground, then you're going to unwind that, then you're going to start the other company and get it back off the ground. And it's basically a seesaw, right? There's like not consistency there. Every 6 months, you have to like muster the courage to get going again with this new business almost. And on top of that, because of that drop off, a lot of people will come and go from the recurring basis. The beauty about having a business that's week over week and consistent throughout the year is you're having constant touch points with the individual on actually keeping the relationship. So things deteriorate, things change, 6 months goes by and they even forgot what your name was of your company or don't even have your contact information anymore. So to me, for someone starting out trying to make $10,000 per month on the side quickly, the seasonal revenue is going to make it way too inconsistent, right? You might do 15K in July and then 2K in January, right? That's not sustainable cash flow. And again, profit margins can also be difficult because you've got equipment costs, fuel, maintenance, the seasonal nature, right? Most lawn care operators are going to make a ton of their money off their add-on services like fertilization, landscaping projects, not just the basic mowing. Now, if you compare all of those to home cleaning, here's why I think it wins across every single metric that matters for building a remote, scalable business. So the differentiators from a year-round basis is the recurring revenue aspect. People need homes cleaned every week or every 2 weeks or every month. There's no seasonality, there's no dead months, there's no winter slowdown. While pressure washer guys are sitting idle in December, wondering how they're going to pay rent, you're booking cleaning still. While lawn care operators are struggling through the winter, maybe even trying to pivot to snow removal for the first time, you're maintaining consistent revenue. I think this is huge for cash flow and business planning, and you can predict your revenue 6 months out because you know that the recurring clients will continue to pay. You can plan investments, you can hire people in advance, you can scale systematically instead of riding a roller coaster. So I have clients that have been with me for multiple years, paying me over $300, $400 per month. That's $7,200 in lifetime value from a single customer acquisition. That same customer is going to be much more difficult to achieve in a pressure washing or lawn care business. The second aspect is the abundant work availability. There are literally hundreds of thousands of experienced cleaners across the United States looking for work. If you posted a job on Indeed tonight, you'll probably have 20 plus applicants by tomorrow morning who are interested in this work. To me, this is one of the biggest differentiators that makes remote management possible. If you try to do this with pressure washing, pole cleaning, landscaping, you're going to be waiting weeks to find a qualified crew. They'll probably want to work for an established company with steady work. Cleaning is a skill most people already have, right? Everyone knows, generally speaking, how to clean a house, what the expectations are for cleaning a house. So you're not looking for a specialized licensed technician who needs months or even years of training, right? You're looking for reliable people who do have some experience but can follow your checklist, show up on time, and follow your processes to a T. So the barrier to entry for workers is low, but the demand for professional, reliable cleaning services is high. To me, that's the perfect combination for scaling. So worker availability is what makes this scalable, right? You're not limited by finding enough people to do the work. You do want to make sure they are qualified, but when you need to expand, you can bring on those people in days, not months, right? Like a lot of these other businesses. Now, the next aspect has to do with profit margins, right? So I mentioned earlier, when clients pay you $200 for cleaning, you're going to pay the cleaner $100 and you're going to keep $100. That's 50% gross profit on every single job. If you compare that to pressure washing, right? Lower margins from the equipment costs or lawn care, seasonal revenue also have equipment costs that kills profitability. These margins allow you to reinvest in growth. You can handle unexpected expenses and actually make money instead of staying busy for 6 to 12 months before you're profitable. But to me, here's what's really powerful. As you scale, your margins will be improving because your recurring revenue becomes a larger percentage of your total revenue, which means that you do not have to spend another dollar on acquiring this business, but it is now a larger part of your revenue distribution. On top of that, the startup cost is extremely reasonable. Honestly, you can get started for under $1,000, right? You can get your LLC, you can get a business phone, you can get a laptop, you can get basic scheduling software, insurance, that's it, right? No equipment investment, no trucks, no pressure washers, no inventory management, no chemical storage, no maintenance costs. You can literally run this business tonight with what you already have. If you compare that to pressure washing, 5-figure investment in equipment, pole cleaning, thousands of dollars on chemicals and equipment, and lawn care, right? Trucks, mowers, 5 figures worth of equipment investment. The low startup cost means you can test the market. You can make mistakes. You can iterate without feeling the pressure of going out of business, right? I've had clients that have started with under $1,000 and were profitable within 30 days. So if you're going to do this from your phone and you wanted to scale to $10,000 per month, right? The math is really around 50 cleanings per month at $200 on average. That's $10,000 revenue. Again, you're paying your cleaners half and you're keeping that $5,000 profit. That's only 2 to 3 cleanings per day with a team of cleaners doing the work. You can manage all of this from your phone. You can keep your day job and you can scale beyond 10,000, right? Many operators hit 20, 20, 30, even 40K plus months using this same system because the model doesn't break as you grow. It actually gets easier because you have better systems and more experienced cleaners. My client Chris hit 10,000 in 75 days from starting from nothing. Alexis hit 30,000 in 60 days with zero experience, and Monica scaled to 10,000 in 3 months using the same approach. So these aren't outliers, right? They're following a proven system that works regardless of your background or experience. In addition, there's some other advanced benefits of this model that most people don't think about. Once you're cleaning someone's home regularly, you become trusted. They'll ask you about other services. I've had many instances where they ask me about organization, deep cleanings, move-in, move-outs, holiday cleanings, right? Each client becomes more valuable each month because they're adding on different services, right? I have clients who pay me $600 plus per month for various things we do because we've built that trust and relationship with them. On top of that, there's the referral multiplication. So if you have happy customers, they're going to refer their friends and family and neighbors at a much higher rate than any other home service. Why? Because it's a very in-demand service when it comes to home services. Everyone wants a great cleaner, and one great client can typically refer 1 to 2 others within 6 months. So that's how good it can be with exponential growth without increasing marketing spend. Then there's market expansion, right? So once you master one market, you can expand to adjacent areas using the same systems, right? So I went from serving one neighborhood to 5 different areas using the identical process. If you try to do that with seasonal things like pressure washing or geographically limited places like pool cleaning, right, it becomes difficult. The cleaning model can scale very well horizontally across any residential area. On top of that, there's the technology integration piece as well. So cleaning businesses integrate beautifully with technology nowadays. They've got scheduling apps, payment processing, photo documentation, client communication. This makes remote management seamless. A lot of other home services are really still stuck because it's so technical in nature, right? You can build a completely digital operation that runs like a tech company almost. Once you're able to put all that together, here's a typical day of what it looks like once you're established at 10K plus per month. From a day-to-day perspective, because everything leverages technology from the scheduling to the communication, this makes this model really scalable and location agnostic. So an example of what a day might look like for you is in the morning, you're going to spend about 20 minutes checking overnight messages, confirming today's schedule, making sure everything is managed for the morning. I can see all the jobs for the day, which cleaners are assigned, any client addresses, instructions, or specific issues from the previous day, and check in with my support team. Around midday, I'm reviewing any morning jobs that have been completed and any issues that might have arisen through client feedback. And if there's an escalated problem, I'm going to address that immediately from my internal team. And at the end of the day, we're going to follow up on all the cleanings, how they went. We're going to go over KPIs with the team, any outstanding items leading into the following day we need to be worried about. And honestly, when you do all those things, it's about 60 minutes a day from my phone once all the systems are running. The key is having the systems that work without you, right? So cleaners know exactly what to do, clients know exactly what to expect, and you're just orchestrating and managing everything remotely. So this model works because you're not selling your time. You are building a system that generates income whether you're there working or not, and you can run everything from your phone. To me, home services will always be in demand. The workers already exist. The clients are already looking for this work. You just need to be the one who connects them. And especially if you haven't done entrepreneurship before, this is your first time looking into a business, it's a great initial business to understand what are the fundamentals of entrepreneurship, having success, building a cash flowing vehicle very early on, right in the first couple months, not waiting years before you make a dollar. If you want to work with me and my team on building your own remote cleaning business from scratch, including all my templates, scripts, and access, click the first link in the description, and I will see you on the next one.